So what we're talking about today, obviously, sign on the door is going to be building safety equipment, or building safety into paving equipment, right? So as we all know, safety is only becoming more and more prevalent in our lives in the paving world and the construction world. So what we like to talk about is not just giving a technology out to the world, but also adapting it to the way it needs to be used on the job site, right? So to start, Nick Zessack, I'm the regional sales manager for the Southeastern United States for Sakai. I've been doing this role for about 4 years. I say Southeast, I cover about 14 states for Sakai, so I do a lot of driving and I see a lot of different ways of paving, right, which is a lot of fun for us. I live in Cartersville, Georgia, which is about 30, 45 minutes outside of Atlanta, as we like to say. Yes, sir. They put a mural on a building downtown of your boy, so you're welcome, any Clemson fans, for that. That's a local talent. We always call them Sunshine with that hair. So yes, home of Trevor Lawrence. We always say it's a safe but reachable distance from Atlanta. So that's kind of where I'm at. Now, hobbies of mine, I'm a golf guy. I like football. I like food, as you can tell. And I did play lacrosse, so I'm a lacrosse guy. If there's any of those and you want to talk ball, let me know. I'd be happy to talk to you. So without further ado, we'll kind of jump into things here. So building safety into paving equipment is about building paving into safety equipment, right? So you can't have one without the other. You have to have technology that adapts with the workforce and the way that people do their job, right? So the most important part about safety technology is adaptation, right? You can make the most fancy technology in the world, but if it's hard to use and your operators don't like it, they're gonna ignore it, they're not gonna use it, right? No operator wants to hurt anybody on a job site. They all have this well-intended of not wanting to do something wrong, right? But they will ignore that safety technology if you make it too difficult for them to use, right? So it's about creating a technology that fits in the way that you do your business, right? Safety is everyone's responsibility on a job site. So there's no magic pill with safety technology. It is a culmination of all your best practices, how you train your guys. Safety technologies need to be the speed boost to that, right? Those technologies come in that last second where somebody's not paying attention. That's where these safety technologies can come in and save lives or save equipment, keep somebody from wandering off into the wrong lane, all those kind of fun things we see on paving job sites. So, once again, it needs to be an enhancement to your safety. It is not the magic pill for safety, right? So in the world, once again, there isn't a one-size-fits-all for safety technology, right? Everybody has a little bit different way they cook the pie. So you have everything from, simple proximity detection to cameras with proximity detection to bird's eye cameras. There's a lot of different options out there in the world, right? All of them are designed to be an enhancement. Now, safety extends outside of the paving job site as well. This is an example of a company down in Florida that is autonomous plane operations now. Now, this is a safety technology for two reasons. One, you take an operator out of a seat, right? This can be a good thing. But two, also, what happens if you have two guys running loaders at your plant and one calls out sick for the day? Well, now guy number two is having to work twice as hard. He's going twice as fast to keep up with the production. So that's when mistakes happen, right? We're going fast, we're rushing, trying to get something done. So with this, you have a guy that can jump in remote from a different location and still run that wheel loader, feed that plant for the day, right? So it extends outside of that paving job site. Also, profilographs, right? Why is this safety? Well, the smoother road you build, the better skid resistance you get, the safer road you have, right? So all you guys are scored on this on your job site. How smooth is my pavement, right? And it becomes just a number, but the important side of it is it's actually building a safer road, right? Better IRI scores mean better drainability of the asphalt, of water to escape. They also equal better skid resistance, so people can stop their cars faster, right? So that is where safety integrates there. The move that you're seeing a lot of people go to now as well is autonomous rollers, right? The idea, once again, being taking an operator out of the seat, you can remove human error. But as we all know, when it comes to paving, I always like to tell guys running a roller is a combination of science and a little bit of art, right? There's a feeling. Guys, when you talk to a 20-year roller operator, he's seeing things on that asphalt mat that a lot of guys aren't seeing, right? So with asphalt paving, it's just not as realistic to be able, you're not taking dirt here and putting it there. There's a lot more to it as a paving operator, right? So that art and science mixed. So where we kind of come into that space is we say, hey, we still want an operator station, but we want the ability to run it autonomously if needed, right? So there's a lot of different ways to skin the cat when it comes to paving technologies as far as safety. Now, where Sakai came into this as well is we came out with our system called Guardman, which is an automatic brake assist system for your rollers. So this is a technology that ties into the hydraulics and hydrostatically brakes the machine, slows and then brakes it to avoid collision with a person, your paver, a car, any object on your job site, right? So give you kind of a general quick hit of what that looks like. Give you a quick video of this. So we'll go over kind of some of the technologies that are in these and how that's important for the paving job site, because once again, it's not just moving dirt. Paving job sites are an interesting area. I did not get paid. Oh, you can't see it, so that's a problem. Okay, so we have 2 different radar systems to use for detection for a job site. So this comes in, once again, to building the adaptability to the machine you're doing and the application you're in, right? So one is a millimeter wave radar sensor. So for our machines where we can take a sensor and really point it straight out from behind the back of the machine, we use millimeter wave radar. Why we use this system? It's impervious to dust, steam, pretty much any of those job site contaminants you're gonna see on a paving job site, right? You're gonna see dust, you're gonna see steam, you're gonna have a lot of things floating around in the air. So this technology needs to be able to read through that. We also have a 3D LiDAR system. The reason for that is adapting it to the rollers, right? When we're able to come straight out the back of this roller and go straight out the back, that wave isn't interrupted by the ground or anything in its way, right? But if you take that same sensor and you put it on the back of this taller machine, right, and you put it facing straight out, you're gonna miss a whole lot of detection area under where that wave's going. So that's where we bring in and adapt a 3D LiDAR technology to it as well. So with this technology, you have a 23-foot detection area for that sensor, right? So it ties in 2 ways. It ties in hydraulically, but it also ties in to the emergency brake if needed, right? So if there's something that goes wrong, our system will detect, hey, I'm not getting the hydraulic flow reduction, I need to engage the emergency brake. But it is a slow and then stop. As we all know, hard stopping on hot asphalt, not good, right? So we needed to adapt this technology to that paving job site to say this machine needs to slow before it brakes. So you get an audible alert at 23 feet at full speed. I'll show you here in a little bit how that detection area changes and how it can improve best practices. But at full speed on your machine, you get a 23-foot detection area, a slow beep to start, faster beep, then it will slow and then brake. Now it adjusts that based off the speed of the roller and how far away the object is, right? Because if you're on a 14-ton double drum asphalt roller, you're gonna need a little bit more time to stop than when you're on a 4-ton, right? So it's gotta calculate and account for that. So once again, not affected by contaminants, not affected by dust. We also have some additional modes with wall mode, which we'll go into a little bit more. And this is how, once again, we're tying it in to the reality of your paving job site. Because like I said, safety technology is great, but if it's not going to work within the space you're using it, then it's not useful to you, right? So it also is not an engine kill, right? There has been some technologies in the past, mostly on the paver side, where they tried to adopt these kind of technologies. What they found was if you had a malfunction of the sensor, the machine wouldn't work, right? Something went wrong with that sensor box, you're inoperable for the day, okay? It was also an engine kill, so it would continue to kill the engine if there was a failure, right? Well, with ours, when the emergency brake is engaged, you return your forward and reverse lever to neutral, engage the parking brake, disengage it, and you're back working. It's also designed with a way to shut things off, just in case there are malfunctions. But the important part for that operator is to know, hey, I'm really not gonna hurt your speed or what you're doing in your normal job, right? If this thing breaks, all you gotta do is turn it into neutral, brake on and off, and you can keep rolling. So it's not gonna interfere with what you're doing. You also have the ability to, as we stated, go very quickly on the machine and it will still brake for you, but also as you slow down, that detection area changes with your speed, right? So if you're talking about getting close to the screed or getting close to the roller behind you, it's got to adapt to the way you do that as well. The other side of things is we have wall modes. That is a very crucial thing when you're up against jersey barriers, when you're in confined spaces, right? The detection area of any sensor comes out like a cone out the back of the machine, right? So what this wall mode does is it simply cuts your detection area off at the edge of your frame. So you can take this machine, put it right up on that jersey barrier like you would any other day without interfering or having the machine stop. So that's where the wall mode comes in. Also able to turn everything to a low volume mode. This is more crucial when you're doing night jobs, you know, around schools, hospitals, places where there is some sound ordinance, or neighborhoods. You're able to decrease the sound volume of the sensors, of the speakers on the machine, so that way you don't ruffle any feathers in the neighborhoods, right? We found this is actually very important when we're down in Florida, because per capita, Florida may have the highest population of Karens anywhere in the United States. So this is very important for them. As I stated, last but not least, you can turn this technology off on the roller. It is a simple on and off switch. Now when you stop, turn the machine off, turn it back on, it always returns to on. You would have to turn it off manually, so it's not a safety issue of the guy the night before turned it off and the new guy gets on in the morning, doesn't realize it's not on and hits something. Doesn't happen. The importance of being able to turn it off is as stated. If there's a malfunction with this system and it's breaking for some reason, maybe somebody hit the roller overnight, right? And you need to still be able to operate it, that's where that comes in. We have to be, we know asphalt jobs are time. We got trucks coming, we got to pave, right? So we want to make sure in every situation, it's easy for you to keep rolling. The display. So this is another side of that adaptability side. If you make the controls for safety technology a Rubik's Cube, your operator's not going to use it. I'll get on machines with roller operators that have been running one of our machines for 5 years and he's got 3 switches. He don't know what they do still, right? So with creating these technologies, you want to make sure the interface is very user-friendly, right? These are about as simple as it gets, right? Left wall, right wall, if this is on, you're not going to run into anybody, right? So make it very simple on these operators. Now, where the 3D LiDAR comes in is like we talked about before. Same detectable area, which is important, right? But we have to adjust the way we have our sensor, because that 3D wave radar, or millimeter wave radar would come straight out of the back of the machine, and you'd have a large blind spot right at the back of the drum. So we use a 3D LiDAR system to actually look more downwards, right? To fit the needs of this roller in that application, okay? So that's where you have a little bit of a different sensor for it. Like I said, same exact technology. You have a 23-foot detection area at full speed. It adjusts based off how fast you're going. Detection area shrinks and grows along with it. Once again, user-friendly screen. On our 3D LiDAR systems, this one also comes with a camera as well. Reason for this is on your large asphalt rollers, we didn't, like a 79-inch, 90% of your time is spent looking back and forth. You're not facing forward on the roller as you're operating, right? So the need for a camera comes in more on machines like this, which you're not having a rotating operator station, so that way they don't have to turn around to visually look, right? They can use that camera. Since my video isn't really working here, we'll go into the next level of adapting this technology, right? So when we came out with Guardman, understanding that a 23-foot detection area is a really good thing, right? We want to be able to see those. But we understand on the normal paving job site these days, you see a lot of tandem paving and echelon paving. If you have a 23-foot detection area and you're tandem paving, the system's going to be barking at you all day. An alarm that's going off constantly is no longer an alarm because people are going to get tone deaf to it, right? So we understood coming into that we needed to develop an echelon mode for this technology. So when guys are tandem paving, right? If you were in a standard mode with our Guardman and you have this 20 to 30-foot detection area, this is going to be beeping at them all day. It doesn't work for them. So the standard operation of Guardman and what that would look like, is this is what it looks like as the machine approaches. This is in standard mode. You're able to back off the throttle and increase the throttle based off your sound alarm, and you'll see how that detection area shrinks and swells. We're going through the first stage of detection here. Second stage hits here. He can back off the throttle. He can slow down, right? But with that 23-foot area, if it's doing this at him all day, he's turning it off. That's what's happening, right? So we have to take this technology once again and adapt it. So this is another example of standard mode where he can back off the throttle and match the speed of the guy in front of him, right? So it becomes a training tool for him. Now I'm keeping my proper distances. So where echelon mode comes into play here is that we understand that we need to change the audible, but we don't want to stop detecting the object in front of us, right? So we talked about a couple different ways to skin the cat, right? Well, do we change the detection area? Do we do it this way? Do we do it that way? Well, we figured out it was a very simple solution, which is just cut the first sound alarm, right? So you still have detection of the object, but it will not start alerting the operator until a 10-foot radius, right? Once again, that's adjusted by how fast he goes. So this will allow the operator to still know, hey, there's something in my sight line. It will give him a visual prompt on the screen that it sees that roller, but it won't start alarming until it gets much closer. So the technology's still there. We want it still detecting. We just got to make sure that it works in that echelon application. And this is where integrating safety into paving equipment becomes important, right? Because this is a great technology. It can save equipment. It can save lives, right? But we have to get your operators to want to adopt it, okay? So with an echelon mode coming in, as stated, you are going to get a shorter detection area, and this is a dead stop roller with a roller coming up on him at 4 miles an hour. So he doesn't get that alarm until he gets much closer to the roller, right? Let's see. So, this mouse pad's a little tricky on me. We also have, there we go. Okay. So this is where your trailing roller doesn't slow down or keep his distance once again. So where the unintended consequence of this as well is, yes, we developed this technology for echelon paving and it's a safety technology, but the second side of it is, this is gonna teach this roller operator to keep proper space, right? Because it's gonna alert at him if he keeps running up on his buddy all day, right? But if we can get him trained to know, okay, when I get into my detection area, then he knows, okay, I need to back off my throttle, I need to slow down to match the speed of the guy in front of me, right? So here's a good example. He starts running up on that roller, he can back off the speed, and then it stops detecting for him. So it's going to teach him to keep better space with that roller in front of him when he's echelon paving or tandem paving. So that is another one of those unintended, that it was not the purpose and scope of designing the technology, but once you get there, you realize not only is it a safety technology, it can also be a training tool for your operators on keeping that proper space. Gives them that audible alarm, hey, I'm creeping up too close on my buddy here, right? So, once again, just want to go through and show you kind of how that looks in several different situations. On this one is, once again, he's got to learn to match that speed of the roller in front of him. So he hears that beep, he backs off his throttle, now he's in the correct speed, now they're tandem paving together, they're not going to run into each other. So this will, the promised land you want to get to is these guys are talking to one another. Even if they're not paying attention, that alarm will kind of tell them, hey, I'm running up on my buddy too quick, I need to back off. I can get, okay, now we're matching speed, right? So there's your training tool there. Now, another unintended consequence with this is also giving that audible alarm to your screed operator as well. So with these sensors, they're mounted to the frame and they have speakers on both ends. So that way, as your roller approaches the actual screed itself, you'll see how this works, right? Gives him an audible alarm. As soon as he puts it in reverse, changes his detection area to the rear, so it's not just constantly alarming to the screed, but it also helps that screed operator to know as he's sitting there, you know, or your screw guy over there isn't really paying attention, he'll get that audible alarm of the machine coming up on him, right? It's an extra defense mechanism for that operator there. Now, once again, simplicity, simplicity, simplicity. To try to make it easy, to turn on echelon mode is a button that says echelon mode. So this is our standard. This is what it looks like in standard. You can see where it gives you a visual alert to say, hey, I detect an object out in front of me. It also gives you an indicator up here at the top of the screen of how close that object is coming and tells you, hey, you're entering into the braking portion, right? So this gives you a visual representation of the standard operation of this system, right? With the second side of things, which is, let me fast forward through this. Okay. With the echelon mode side of things, when you engage the echelon mode, it gives you a visual readout of a roller, right? So it has a front and rear, ghost runner on first, ghost runner on second. So this is where we talk about where even though it's not going to give that guy an audible detection area, it also changes his detection area bar right here, right? It will give him a visual prompt to tell him, hey, I do see something, I'm just not alerting you audibly. So you'll see where that comes on. So now the roller operator can see that and go, okay, I know there's an object in my way. It just will not start the alert process, and braking process remains the same, but the actual alert process is much shorter for that guy. So once again, the adaptability comes in to where the guy goes, okay, this is an easy to use, easy to set up. It becomes the best practices for keeping your space when you're tandem paving. It also helps keep street operators safe, which is very important as well. But the most important part, and what we're talking about here today with that safety technology, I think I've said it a million times, is it has to be a technology that guys want to use, right? If I come in and bring a safety technology that says, hey, I've got to completely change the way I'm paving because now I got a 23-foot detection area and this thing's going off all day, guys aren't going to want to use it. Your guys in the field aren't going to want to use it. But if we can adapt this technology to the way that we already pave, the way your company already paves, then it becomes an easy, smooth transition. Like I said, when I first started going out and talking to guys about technologies like this in the field, I've never had an operator say, I don't want more safety technology. No operator wants to hurt their buddy on a job site, right? Same time, as we said, it's not a magic pill. It can't be the end-all be-all for your safety on the job site. You still have to do best practices. But this is that 1 minute at 3 o'clock in the morning on a paving job site where that guy stops paying attention for that split second, right? That's where technologies like this come in. So if we can create a technology that adapts to the way you pave, gets better adoption from your operators, everybody's safer for it, right? So we say this all the time at Sakai. Really, asphalt paving is the safety business, right? We build the roads that our wives, our sons, our daughters drive on every day. So building these roads, building safer roads, and building technology that is safer for your guys on the road is all safety, right? We build better roads, people get home safe, they get to work safe every day. Thank you for everybody here that does this job, right? Any questions, concerns, ideas? I'm an open book. Hit me.
How loud is the alarm? Is it like a backup alarm, like on a tank truck?
It is louder than the backup alarm because we will have a backup alarm on our machine as well, right? So the two things, as you can kind of hear, the audible sound of it is a little different. So, you know, a lot of guys are doing white noise backup alarms these days because it's a different sound, because on a paving job site, you become tone deaf, right? So one, it's louder than the backup alarm, but two, we tried to make it a different tone to try to catch their attention a little bit more. The idea as well of having the visual readout is hopefully that helps catch their eye as well. One of the things that I really harp on in here as well is that ability to slow it down, right? So all that operator has to do is return towards neutral and it changes your detection area. So then that alarm goes, almost becomes a game for him, right? It's like, I'm gonna go the whole night, I don't want my beep to go, right? I wanna keep my distance. So yes, it's louder than just the backup alarm, and we tried to differentiate the tone importantly as well. Thanks for the question, I appreciate it. Any other questions in the crowd here? Any hands? No? Okay. Well, I cut that one off of the pass a little bit quicker than I anticipated, but once again, on behalf of Sakai, I want to thank all of you guys for coming and attending. We appreciate what you guys do day in and day out. SCAP is a great organization, and we're very happy to be here and talking to you guys. So thank you very much.